Hello, everybody, and welcome back to You Don't Have Access to This Land. Uh, welcome back to Farming Sim 19 with Trex. Say hello, sir.
What's up?
Trex still has his answer to give for the question. If you would like to reiterate the question, because I've forgotten the wording, just in case
Um,
people have forgotten.
that's fine. So the pretty much the premise of the question is there's different stages that people believe that a civilization can advance, going from pretty much non-civilized to civilized to you conquering your homeworld and making it a perfect place, almost like a utopian system, but not quite utopian, to solarized to galactized, or fucking I forgot how to say it, pretty much ruling the galaxy. And to go from the solarized version to ruling a galaxy, scientists believe that there's a wall. And there's also there's a sixth stage, I think, which makes you like an all-powerful god, but we're not going to go into that. But
Yeah,
between the third
like
and fourth
transcendent.
Yeah, but between the third and fourth stage, there's a wall. And scientists believe there's a wall because we don't see a lot of spaceships, right? And there's two different theories on that. Either the first one is we are going to be one of the first generations to actually achieve such a thing within this universe. So there's not a lot out there. We are the first pioneers that might be able to hit that galactized stage of being. Or two, we haven't reached it yet, and it's so hard to get through that barrier that there's only a select few that can actually do it. And the question pretty much was, do you think that humanity will actually push past that barrier? Now, Juicy, you said that you don't believe that due to arrogance, right?
Yes. I incorrectly said I don't think we'll make it past the fourth stage. What I meant was I don't think we'll ever make it to the fourth stage. I don't think we'll ever even make it through the third stage.
See, and I actually agree with you with the arrogance. Not in the way of how it's going to happen, not nuclear war, because we're going to be way past the nuclear stage and we're going to have more powerful stuff by that point. Because we'd be already having our solar system pretty much conquered, Jupiter, Mars, all that other shit. So there's going to be stuff that's more powerful because we have different resources and different materials to work with. But I don't think we're going to make it either just because of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're still a new civilization. We still haven't made it past this second stage of making this homeworld, our utopia. But
Yep. We've got to unify before we can ever make it to stage 3.
Yeah, and I mean, with every rainbow, rain is before a rainbow, as I've been told. So it could be quite possible that we're still in the rain stage for most of humanity, where we see this world as shit and we don't see progress, and we just have to wait till the storm passes and there's a rainbow. Or, alternatively, it can be much worse and we're going to experience it. So if I don't see improvements, yeah, we might be in like the middle of the storm, right, Juicy? So me and you, we may never see in our lifetime. Our kids may never see in their lifetime. But like our grandkids or something, maybe when they're adults, they actually start seeing everything become more unified and everyone becoming more like a utopian to fix the world.
I would like to think so.
I would hope so. But if the world stays how it is and we just expand and expand and expand, we won't make it past that. We won't make it to the fourth stage. We're going to hit that wall and collapse, because in order to be able to conquer and control a lot more planets or galaxies at that point, besides travel, there has to be unity, because if there isn't, then you're going to have wars with each other that span millions and millions of people and can even cost people planets. You could throw millions of lives at stake by a planet-busting weapon, if such one exists at that point in time. So I agree with you. I think it's highly unlikely we will, unless progress is made to unify and people stop acting like children.
Yeah, no, we are very much a warring species. It's what we do. And I don't feel like humanity is going to be able to kick that habit. Because it's just what we're used to doing. It's what we've done all throughout history. We murder each other. For, like, no reason, most of the time.
Well, it's land and power and greed, but that's different subject.
But, yeah. Until we start fixing, like, I honestly, I don't believe that we ever will, as a species, fix all the problems that we have as a species, which include things like hatred towards other people based on things such as religion, sexual orientation, race. Like, those things are holding us back as a species. Because people care too much about the shit that doesn't really fucking matter. Like, we're all human. If you tear off, if you look inside of a human being, we're all the fucking same. You know, for the most part. With it, yeah, obviously some people are a little bit different inside due to like some sort of deformity or something like that, but they're still human. Our bodies all function the same way. We're built the same way. Like, we're the same species. So what is even the point in hating each other? We're all stuck on this fucking planet together. We may as well fucking get along. Like,
you're not wrong.
I don't understand. The only reason is greed. It's not even about hatred anymore. It's literally greed. For the most part. I mean, sure, racism, sexism, homophobia, it all exists. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, because it does. It very much does. But when you look at the reason that wars are declared these days, it's all greed, for the most part. Like, and then, you know, there's America, who's always at war. We've been at war in the Middle East for 19 years.
America.
And it started, at least they told us it started, because of, 9/11. That was the thing that happened. You don't know what it is, you were too young.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
All I can say is look it up. There's plenty of videos.
Look it up.
And there's videos, and I promise you.
Oh, trust me, the videos are online. I was in second grade, okay? And they pulled us out or back into class from recess to watch that shit on the news.
I remember, they just sent us home, and as soon as I got home, because I was in a small town, we watched the second plane hit, and I sat there like, what's happening? My mom's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, no, that was ridiculous. That was in 2001. We're still at war in the Middle East. Still, to this day, we are at war in the Middle East. But it's not about the Twin Towers anymore. Now it's about oil. Because greed. Like, I don't remember who it was. But somebody, this is a direct quote from a person. I don't remember who the fuck it was. It was a famous person. I'll Google it and put their name up on the screen. The quote was, "War is God's way of teaching Americans geography." And you know what? I don't disagree.
I shouldn't be laughing at that. I should not be laughing at that. I should not be laughing
They
at that.
weren't wrong, though.
Funny.
It's an amusing statement. Like, it sounds amusing. But it's also not entirely false. Like, think about the places that people our age know about. Like, or were taught about in school. And then think about how many of those places were we at war with not too long before we were born. All of them.
I mean, fair enough.
Every single one. And, like, this country doesn't know how to function if it's not at war. We had peace for, like, 10, 15 years. You know what took up that 10, 15 years? The Great Depression. How did the Great Depression end? World War II. That's how the Great Depression ended. Like, America cannot function if we're not, occupying some nation full of brown people, because that's mostly what it is. It's all in the Middle East. Like, I'm just calling it how I see it. It's not racist if it's true. Uh, I'm not being racist. It's all been in the Middle. Well, not all of it. Most of it has been in the Middle East. The Middle East and Asia. I mean, think about it. Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan again. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
it's the Middle East and Asia. We haven't been at war with the Europeans since World War II, so that's nice. But
Yeah,
that's only because of the fucking UN. Like,
the fucking UN taking
yeah.
away fun rounds and giving us dummy rounds.
The UN was actually a step that I feel was necessary for humanity. It was a good idea. It was supposed to be like, the idea is peace between these nations. And if anybody attacks any of the nations in the UN, we all come to their defense. It was the first step toward planetary unification. But we're still independent nations, which, if we're actually going to unify the nation, we have to do it under one flag. Like, the whole world has to be one nation.
That's the hardest thing to do.
It's impossible. It's next to impossible because humans have way too much pride in where they're from.
It's possible. It's just in our day and age, there's so many other things that we need to fix. Honestly, let's be honest. In each country, there's so many fucking things that we need to fix at home before we can unify. There's a
Okay,
lot of things to
so
fix at home.
I agree and disagree. So the solution to most of our problems, other nations have already fixed the problems that we're dealing with. If we were to simply unify with these nations, we would then have joint policies because we'd be one nation. Therefore, those problems would cease to exist within the entirety of the nation because it's already been fixed.
But now you're hoping that people would actually agree to set policies, and that's a completely different can of worms.
Well, that's why you just have to enforce the policies. Which I know that sounds a lot like Big Brother. But unfortunately, I genuinely believe, at least at first, Big Brother is sort of necessary.
Okay, now I'm going to strike down your big brother with what we're going back to when it comes to arrogance and ego is greed. You put one group in charge, like a big brother, and you're going to have people with greed on their mind and in their hands that could literally, instead of controlling a few million people, now you've got tens
Yeah.
of millions of people.
But that's why
And
it has to be a large group and not just a small group of individuals. It has to be a small group of constantly rotating members. Like,
it has to, but
our
even
government now is broken. It doesn't work. Honestly. The corruption there's way too much corruption. Because career politicians put term limits on every single position within government. Don't allow these lifetime politicians to exist because they're the ones that are corrupt. They become corrupt because they've been there for so fucking long that, power inevitably corrupts everyone. So you don't let people be in power long enough to get corrupted. And Greece, who had the original democracy, for those of you who have forgotten, if a politician was found to be corrupt, they were banished. They were replaced and banished. That was the punishment for corruption.
I wish we could do that.
Ugh. If we did that, most of our Senate would be gone tomorrow.
Most would be down there in Australia.
How do I turn my flashlight on with the controller?
I don't know. Let me know when you find out, because that'd be something I'd like to know.
Turning the toggle light. Oh, it says F. But what about on a fucking controller? Oh, these are gamepad controls. Keyboard, gamepad. What? Oh, for whatever. Oh, no, I'm just a moron. Okay.
Wait, what is it?
Hold on, I gotta find it again. Honk, start, toggle left, toggle light. It's right bumper and B.
Oh wow, look at all my lights. Look at this. Low, high,
Wait.
everything. Or can you not see my lights?
Oh, right bumper and B. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Look at this.
I was pressing the left bumper because
Juice, look at this. My low beam, my high beam, all the lights.
I can't even see you. Oh, you're behind me, that's why. Show me again.
Low, high, all the lights.
Wow, okay. Well, I guess you need those side lights for when you're dumping.
When I gotta take a fat
but yeah. So the moral of the story is humans will never colonize another galaxy because we're not even capable of unifying our own planet.
Okay, so then we're gonna throw this one out there. Do you believe that our species and some other species out there are technically going to be the first generations to become that galactal state?
No.
Or do you believe it's already existed?
I believe it's already existed.
Okay, so this is going into like a lot of different conversations because I believe that, truthfully, while I hope that we're the first so that we know how bad this barrier is, which is actually scarier because we don't know what to expect, not being the first could make sense because let's say there's someone that has reached that highest stage of transcendence and godhood. What if they're the ones that created people? Whatever the ones that they have recreated life and the world, and because they're far away, it takes them millennia to get here. But when that species gets here, because instead of being on planets, their planets are their own spaceships. And they drive them around, almost like a rogue planet type of scenario. Once they stop here, they will retake what they left us for, whether it's for workforce, actual intelligence, or food source.
We have received at one point, like a transmission that we weren't able to decode that came from space.
Are you talking about the WOW signal?
The what?
Are you talking about the WOW signal?
I don't know what it's called, or that they even put a name to it. But there was a transmission that came from space. I don't remember when, but I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, so there's a transmission that came from
space.
And
I remember listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson rant about it for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a long transmission, but it was like short burst that was out of nowhere that wasn't in the normal, and they called it the WOW signal because
it was sort of like Morse code.
Yeah, but it was like very, very short. It lasted for like maybe a second or less.
Mm-hmm.
But it was called the WOW signal because the guy that found it literally wrote WOW on the damn thing because he was so freaking excited.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the thing that happened. So I genuinely don't believe that we are the first species to, like, travel through space in any capacity. Because I guess we should have let off with, I do genuinely believe that we're not alone in the universe. I know that some people are going to look at me and be like, Juicy, you're crazy. And to you, I say, you're probably right. But this is just what I believe. I do not believe that we're alone in the... I mean, think about it. Think about how many planets we know about that are in the Goldilocks zone. And that's just the ones we know about. Like, there are... Space is an infinite expanse, which means over that infinite expanse, there is an infinite number of planets just like ours that are also capable of holding life. Then we also think about the fact that we just happen to be a carbon-based life form. What if there are more complex life forms than ourselves? Because we are literally made out of the like 5 most common elements in the universe. Like, we just happen to be made out of the most common shit that's found literally everywhere. We are not complex by any stretch of the imagination. So if we exist here under these conditions, and we know of, I think we know of at least a couple of dozen planets that are in the same Goldilocks zone that our planet is in, that are also capable of sustaining life. And that's just the ones we know about. And we don't know if life can be created out of, like, non-carbon... We don't know if non-carbon-based life forms are possible, but they're pretty likely in the grand scheme of things, honestly. Like, we don't know. That's part of the... That's the mystery. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what's going on. We barely even know what's going on our own damn planet. So... I don't know. I don't think we're alone. I genuinely don't. And I don't think... I think that a lot of species that have reached the point of being able to go out and colonize other galaxies and yada yada yada, they have probably also gone extinct over time, because everything dies eventually. Every species will eventually go extinct, regardless of how far they spread themselves. They will eventually go extinct. As will mankind. I genuinely believe that it will happen relatively soon, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. Like the next few hundred years, probably. But anyway, that's the end of this episode. We're ending it on the extinction of the human race.
Well, okay, if we're going to go that route, then we have something we got to talk about next episode about it, because there's more I have.
Oh, of course. I am totally down to talk about this for fucking ever. It doesn't matter. I could talk about this until I die.
We still have half the field left, so... And we haven't even begun to see the fun.
If y'all are interested in space talk, or if you're not interested in space talk, you probably stopped watching a couple of episodes ago.
Or if you decide to skip a few more and you'll be fine.
And if you're not interested and you made it this far, yeah, just skip a few more episodes. You're going to be seeing the same shit, hearing us talk about space for quite a while yet. But for those of you who stuck around and watched, thank you very much for listening to what we have to say and watching us plow fields. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm still thinking about space. In the comments section down below, what do you think? Do you think humanity will ever colonize another planet outside of our own galaxy? Do you think we will ever achieve it? That's the question of the day here. As usual, links in the description to other channels and yada yada yada. You know how it goes. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.